Selling used clothing on eBay is not easy. It's a lot of work. It's hard work and a lot of time. And although I feel like I have a good plan, I've noticed a downward trend in my numbers that I'm concerned about. We're going to get into that, and I'm going to talk about my plan to correct the ship. Hello and welcome to eBay with Chris. I'm on a journey to build an eBay business from $0 to $3,000 monthly profit in just 12 months. In today's video, we're going to look at my eBay reports for the week of April 17th through April 23rd. And we're going to look at what sold for that week as well. We'll also look at my business metrics and my plan to make some adjustments. You'll see some of my metrics on a downward trend, and I need to make some adjustments in order to correct that so I can hit my goal by the end of the year. I also want to say thanks for all the nice comments that you guys are leaving on my videos. I really appreciate the encouragement. I do want this to be a positive environment in the comment section, and hopefully the videos come across as positive as well. Not rainbows and sunshine and unicorns positive, but realistic positive, right? You know, realistic, like this is hard work, this is what it takes to get it done, but it's possible. And if we encourage each other, we can all do this, you know, because I know that selling on eBay can be lonely. It can be, you're just kind of in the grind doing all the work yourself at times, and knowing that others are out there doing the same thing and being successful and growing and learning, that's encouraging. And that's what I want these videos to portray. So I really appreciate your feedback and your comments. Keep them coming. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to get into a few items that sold this week. Okay, so here we have a Ralph Lauren hoodie. It's actually a Henley sweatshirt, button up, and it's got the big pony logo on it, and then number 3 on the shoulder. So this is a pretty good find. I had this for about 2.5 months, so it was one of the first things I found when I first started going to the Goodwill bins. The buyer on this was all in for $41.82, and eBay paid me $25.10 for a profit $22. Okay, so this is an Amazon employee swag shirt. This is actually one of my shirts. The cost on this was free. I listed this about 2.5 months ago as well, but this is a long sleeve shirt, and the buyer is all in for $21.70. eBay paid me $10.47, and my profit was about $8. Okay, here we have a pair of Sean John baggy carpenter jean shorts. I used the keyword Y2K in there. I don't know if that helped at all, but anyways, this buyer was all in for $39.65, and eBay paid me $22.14, and I got a profit of $19. And I had this item in my inventory for 2 months. We have a pair of Roxy board shorts. Now these did have some stains on them. They look like they might be paint stains, 3 or 4 of them along the front there. So I did price it down quite a bit. But these are Roxy board shorts. They're black. They've got a drawstring waist. The buyer is all in for $13.23, and eBay gave me $6 for a profit of only $3. I had these in my inventory for about 2 months. This is also another pretty cool find. I think I actually featured this item in one of my Goodwill Bins haul videos. Slayer Nation hoodie. It has the skull on the front, which is a pretty cool graphic. That's the main reason I picked it up, was just for the graphics. And then I was pleasantly surprised when I saw the comps. So this buyer was all in for $48.60. eBay paid me $29.22, and I got a profit of $26. And I had this item in my inventory for 1.5 months. Okay, let's take a short break from what's sold and dive into some eBay reports for the week. Here we go. Okay, as you can see, this is the report for April 17th through April 23rd. The total items that I sold were 19 items, and we're going to go through some of those. One of those was a return, and one of those was a repeat buy. So I'll explain that when we get to those specific items. Total sales for the week, $563.17. So overall, a pretty good sales week. My selling cost, $227.62. that was 40% of my total sales. Now this is total selling costs. It includes eBay fees, ads, my cost to ship items, because I only ship through eBay. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the selling costs so you can see what those numbers were in a slide here in a few minutes. My net sales are what eBay paid me for the week, $305.32. And you can see my average selling price per item, $29.64. Now my target is to have an average selling price of over $28. For me, if I hit that number, it's going to make sure I have a profit of $10 per item, which is one of my goals. Because I want to have, if I have an average sales price of $28, roughly $8 of that will be shipping. And another $10 will cover my cost of the item, eBay fees, and any other maybe ad fees and things like that. So an average selling price of $28 or more, I feel like will guarantee I have a average profit of $10 per item. But we'll look, okay? My sales chart for the week. As you can see, I didn't have consistent sales. This is a little bit up and down. Monday, about $50. Tuesday, roughly $215. Nothing on Wednesday. Thursday, about $130. Friday was about $50. Nothing Saturday. And then we rounded out the week on Sunday with about $100. You can see my total sales there, $563.17. The portion of that was the price of the item. So the buyers are all in for the price of the item for $361.52 or 57 cents. They paid shipping and handling $171.37, and they paid taxes of $30.23. Okay, this chart has the breakdown of my eBay fees, or my total selling costs is how I should phrase it. So my total selling costs from eBay were $227.62. If you go further down here, you can see my final value fees were $81.36. If you divide that by my total sales of $563, that turns out to be 14.4% of my sales, which is a little bit high. I think typically it's around 13%, so I'm not sure why that's a little higher this week. But it is what it is, I guess. Ad fees were only $18, which was 3.2%. So if you add up the eBay fees and ad fees, I'm at a total of 17.6% of my sales. And then the other big fee down there is shipping labels, $133 for my shipping labels, which was 23.7% of my selling cost for the week. Okay, are you ready for 5 more items that sold? Let's check them out. So this is a Michael Kors scarf, hat, and glove gift set. I actually got this for free. It was new with tags in the box, and this buyer was all in for $41.76. I did have this on ads, so I paid ads of $5.64. eBay paid me $20.46, and my profit was $17. And I had this item in my inventory for just about 1 month. Okay, here we have a Patagonia Better sweater. It's a women's Better sweater. And as you can see, I have 0 profit because this buyer returned it. And the reason for the return was they just didn't want it anymore. So they basically received it and then turned around and sent it back right away. So going through these numbers, I was super confused about the different numbers and the credits, and I even looked at the detailed report that eBay provides, and it didn't help. I was still confused. So if anyone out there has some insight on that, as far as where eBay is putting these numbers, but basically all total, I broke even on it, right? So I didn't lose money for the shipping or any of that. It looks like so the buyer paid $59, and then they also paid for shipping and sales tax. They got a refund of $64, and then you can see it looks like it was positive $8. And then eBay took out the sales tax and also the shipping label, but they put in a refund of $5.37, I guess, to compensate for that. So all in, I'm even, $0. So it's back in my inventory. This item was in my inventory for 3 weeks before it sold. So anyways, it's back up for sale now. Here we have a really nice North Face shirt, and I was bummed about the sold comps on this. I figured when I picked this up, I figured this was at least a $25 shirt, but nope, I got it back and looked up the comps when I got home, and really the value was just about $15. So this buyer was all in for $21.90. eBay paid me $9.40, and my profit was just $6 on this item. So I got to make sure I do the research more when I'm in the bins to make sure it's a good buy. I had this item in my inventory for just 1 month. So this item is a Nike Dri-FIT women's pink hoodie with the thumb holes and a vented back. It's actually a really nice item. The buyer is all in for $28.98. eBay paid me $15.44, and my profit was $12. I had this item in my inventory for just 3 weeks. Here we have a pair of Calvin Klein women's straight leg chino pants. This buyer was all in for $24.75. eBay paid me $11.15, and I got a profit of $8. I did also have these on ads. My fee for the ads was $1.24, and I just had this item in my inventory for about 3 weeks. Okay, so let's talk about my metrics and see how I'm doing against my goal of profiting $3,000 in a month. So where did I get my metrics? Let's kind of talk about that for a second. So I started with the goal, $3,000 profit per month. And then I thought, okay, what if I can make $10 profit per item, which I thought was pretty reasonable considering I was going to be sourcing clothing at the bins. So how do I get $3,000 profit at $10 profit per item? Well, I need to sell 300 items. And then I thought, okay, how many items do I need in my store in order to sell 300 items? And after doing some research and watching some other YouTubers that sell used clothing, it seems to me that most of them were saying that an average sell-through rate of 0.5% is a typical number. Like 1% is really good, but you can pretty much rely on 0.5%. So I went with that number, and basically what that means is that 0.5% of the items in your store will sell every single day. So if I needed 300 items to sell in a month, that means I needed to sell 10 items per day. Well, to do the math, I figured out, okay, how many items do I need in my store to sell 10 per day? Well, it's 2,000 items, because 0.5% times 2,000 items is 10. So that's where I got that number from. So my two metrics so far are $10 profit per item and 0.5% of a sell-through rate. And then my other metric is, okay, how do I get my store from the current number up to 2,000 items in my store? Well, at that time I had 40 weeks to achieve that goal. So I basically divided 2,000 by 40, and I have 50 items per week that I need to add to my store. So that's my other metric, is increase my store by 50 items. If I sell 20 items, I need to list 70 items to make sure my store grows by 50 per week. So let's see how I did against my metrics this week. Here we go. Metric number 1, did I increase my store by 50 items this week? The answer is yes. So I started the week with 490 items in my store, and I ended the week with 540 items. So considering the fact that I sold 19 items, that means I listed 69 items in order to get my store to that level. Metric number 1, complete. Metric number 2, how did I do? I need to get a 0.5% sell-through rate or greater. Well, let's see how I did. I'm kind of close on this number, so I'm a little bit nervous. To get your sell-through rate, what you do is you take the number of items you sold in a week, for example, divide that by the number of days, 7, and then divide that again by the number of items in your store, and that will give you your percentage sell-through rate. So for me this week, I sold 19 items. Divide that by 7 days, and divide that again by 490 items that I had in my store at the beginning of the week. Doing the math, drum roll, 0.55%. Just barely. So actually this is a metric that I'm a little bit nervous about. because if I'm not hitting that number, I can have 10,000 items in my store. And if I don't have a good sell-through rate, I'm not going to hit my goal of selling 10 a day. So I need to work on this number. And I have some plans, some little adjustments I'm going to make to my sourcing that we'll talk about towards the end. Finally, metric number 3, $10 profit per item. Well, let's do some math and see how I did. So first of all, I sold 19 items. And what was my cost for those 19 items? Well, as you know, I calculate $3 per item. So my cost for those goods sold was $3 times 19, or $57. Now, if I subtract that $57 from my eBay payout, or my net sales from eBay, so I take $305.32 minus 57, I get a net profit of $248.32. Now that's taxable profit. That's pre-tax. Some of you have been asking about that. And if I divide that number again by 19 items that sold, my average profit per item was $13.07. Now, if I want to assume a 25% tax rate, I can take 25% off my overall profit number. So my profit after taxes would be $186.24. But let's get back to that first number. What was my average profit per item pre-tax? $13.07. So I did beat my goal. Okay, let's check out 5 more items that sold this week. Flint & Tinder is definitely a brand you should be keeping an eye out for. I had this item in my stock for 3 weeks, and I got a number of offers on it, but I was holding out. But this is a pair of Flint & Tinder straight fit men's pants, and this buyer was all in for $50.72. And eBay paid me $33.69, and I got a profit of $30 on this item. Oh, here we have a shirt. It's an American Fighter women's extra large shirt. The graphics on this were actually cracking and peeling, so I had a low price on it. But this buyer actually bought another shirt that I'll show you next. And what I did is I went ahead and refunded them some shipping cost. When I went to ship it using the bulk way of purchasing shipping labels, eBay actually asked if I wanted to combine these into one shipment, which I did. And I was glad that they did that, because I was trying to figure out how to combine the shipment and be able to refund them some money. So the shipping label cost for this this customer on this item was only $2.67, because I split it among the other item as well. So for this item, the buyer's all in for $14.41. eBay paid me $9.11, and my profit was $6. The other American Fighter women's shirt, same size. This one, though, the graphics were in really good condition. This buyer is all in for $17.70 on this item. Again, the shipping label was only $2.67, because I split it with the other shirt. eBay paid me $11.71, and I got a profit of $8. This is an Under Armour shirt. It's a base layer. It's thin. It's part of their cold gear collection, I guess. This buyer is all in for $21.41. eBay paid me $12.47, and I got a profit of $9 on this item. And I only had this item in my inventory for 2 weeks, so I was actually surprised, because this is kind of a pretty saturated area. So I was surprised that it sold so quickly. Okay, here we have a Carhartt shirt, and I priced it really low because it did have 3 holes in it, kind of a bigger one in the back, about maybe half a dime size, and then another 2 kind of up in the neck right here. So I priced it low. But the thing with Carhartt is that it can be damaged, it can have stains, and people will still buy it, especially if you price it at give it a good price. So I only had this in my inventory for 2 weeks. This buyer was all in for $18.35. eBay paid me $7.68, and I got a profit of $4. Okay, let's talk about cash flow, my hourly pay rate, and how I'm going to adjust my plans in order to improve my sell-through rate, as well as my profit per item. Okay, let's look at cash flow for the week to make sure I'm still in the positive. Cross our fingers. So This week I spent $110.25 on new inventory at Goodwill and a couple garage sales. I bought a total of 67 items. So my average cost per item was $1.65, which is really cheap. If I make mistakes, which I have, I've had to actually throw a couple items out because I didn't see the damage that they had. It's not an expensive mistake, fortunately. So my cash flow, eBay payout was $305.32. Subtract my what I spent on new inventory of $110.25, and a positive cash flow for the week of $195.07. Okay, my hourly rate. Do you want to know how much I'm making per hour? Let's figure that out. Okay, so for this week I spent 4.5 hours sourcing, 2 hours shipping what's sold, 3.7 hours taking pictures, and 11 hours doing the listings. So I added it all up and I got 21.25 hours for the week. Okay, so previously in the video we had calculated that my profit, my pre-tax profit, was $248.32. Now if I divide that by the number of hours I worked, 21.25, my pre-tax hourly rate, $11.69. Woo! That's pretty awesome. Now if you take 25% off the top for a post-tax hourly rate, $8.76. Now I spend most of my time during the week actually increasing the number of items in my store. So what am I actually getting paid for or profiting for just the items that sold? Let's say I was just replenishing the 19 items that sold and only doing enough work to take care of those 19 items. So what I did is I determined how many minutes per item, how much time I spend on per item. So for sourcing, I average 5 minutes per item. For shipping, 6 minutes per item. For taking pictures, 3 minutes. And for listing an item, my average is 10 minutes per item. So it's a total of 24 minutes per item. Earlier in the video, we had calculated my profit per item of $13.07. So if I take that $13.07 and I divide that by 24 minutes per item and I convert it into hours, I end up with a $32.67 per hour. $32.67 per hour. And that's pre-tax, of course. If I want to take 25% off the top for an after-tax number, it would be $24.50 per hour. So I do like the hourly rate when I'm just looking at what's sold and how many minutes I'm spending per item, but that's not realistic. However, in the future, when I'm selling 300 items in a month, I'm probably going to still be working roughly the same hours, maybe 25 to 30 hours per week instead of 21, 22 hours. But my profit per week is going to be much better, and I suspect that my overall hourly rate is going to be, instead of being $10, $11, it'll be roughly around $30 per hour. So looking forward to that. Let's look at the last 4 items that sold this week. When I'm at the bins, I always buy strange graphic pajamas. I don't know why, but because I think they're going to sell. I guess that's why. So here's an example of one, some Corona men's pajama pants. They're size small. This buyer was all in for $27, and eBay paid me $16.27, and my profit was $13. And I had these items, these pants in my inventory for just a week. The Nike soccer dry fit long sleeve shirt, and it's interesting, soccer items for me seem to sell really well. I only had this item in my inventory for a week, and this buyer was all in for $20.80. eBay paid me $12.80, and my profit was $10. This was a really cool find. This Adidas, vintage Adidas color block, you call it like a track jacket or track, yeah, a track jacket, and it's green, which is unusual for Adidas, and it was just a really cool item. And so I'm glad this one sold pretty quick. I only had it in my inventory for a week, and this buyer was all in for $53. That includes $19 of shipping because the buyer was in Canada. eBay paid me $28.94, and my profit $26. Great find. Last item is this Bulwark US Navy coveralls. They're flame resistant. I actually sold this item and featured them in a previous video. However, the buyer messaged me and said that he entered the wrong address, and which is true, because this item ended up coming back to me. It just got returned by the post office because they couldn't figure out where to deliver it because it was completely a non-address. So anyways, I got it back. As soon as I got it back, I messaged the buyer, and he did want to buy it again. So I relisted it, and he bought it again. And of course, I refunded him for the first one, but I also kept the cost of the shipping for the original buy, so I didn't lose out on any money there. So this buyer's all in for $49.21. eBay paid me $27.62, and my profit was $24. Okay, so I need to make a couple minor adjustments to my sourcing methods in order to improve a couple of my metrics. Now, we already talked about my sell-through rate is at 0.55%, which is just barely above my goal. I would rather have it be closer to 0.75% or even almost 1%, of course. I mean, that would be amazing. And then the other metric I'm concerned about is my profit per item. Although my average was okay at $13.07 per item, 8 of the items that I sold, so 8 of the 18 that actually sold, remember one of the items got returned, 8 of them had a profit of less than $10. So I need to adjust my sourcing methods and be a lot more picky. I think I've been really focused on the quantity of items. Because I do have this goal of 50 items per week. I do need to increase my store, so that's an important metric. But at the same time, I can't just buy 50 random items. I need to buy items that have a good sell-through rate and a good profit. So I need to slow down. I'm going to have to spend more time sourcing. So typically I've been at the bins for 4.5. I'm actually at the bins between 3.5 and 4 hours, just one day a week. And during that time, I'm getting roughly 60 to 70 pounds of items, which is roughly 60 to 70 items. So now I need to be a lot more picky. I need to pick items. I need to do all the research and pick items that have a good sell-through rate, which means that I want to have at least a 50% sell-through rate on the items when I search them. That means at least, like, let's say 100 are listed. That would mean that 50 of those items have sold within the last 90 days or more, of course. If it was 100 listed and 100 sold, that would be even better. Or even better would be 100 listed and 200 sold. But you don't find those very often. So the other thing is also the average selling price. So I need to make sure that the items are selling in the $25 range, 25 and up, not in the $15 range. Yeah, so essentially I need to make sure I'm doing the research on every single item. I think I've either become too lazy or too confident or too cocky, thinking that I have all this knowledge now. I see a brand like a North Face button-up shirt that I sold in this video, thinking, oh, that's probably worth $25. I don't do the research, and I get back and I discover it's only worth $15. So I need to prevent those mistakes. I need to say no to items that are okay and only buy items that are good or great. So that just means spending more time at the bins. I might have to go there twice a week and each time only come home with 20 or 30 items. So we'll see how this goes, but I need to have more discipline in order to achieve my goals. That's why I have these metrics, to make sure that I stay on track. Well, thanks so much for watching eBay with Chris. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Also, comment below. Tell me what you like or dislike about the video. I just want to make sure I'm catering the information towards my my viewers, the people that really are watching the video all the way through. You know, what parts do you like? What parts would you prefer that I cut out? And if you want to follow me on my journey from $0 to $3,000 profit per month, you can go ahead and click on this button right here. And if you want to binge watch more eBay with Chris, go ahead and click on this video right here.